land delineation. In 8H would be the supplemental agreement for from MnDOT on the Highway 43 project, and that sheet is in front of you. Do you have anything else, Kathy?
No.
That's all we have, Your Honor.
Nothing else, take a motion.
Move to approve as amended.
Okay. Motion by Mr. Hans, second by Mr. Culbertson. Questions or comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes, thank you. Number 3, approval of minutes. 3A, regular meeting, April 27, 2015, see attached.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bunky, second by Mr. Colvinson. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
I'll
passes.
abstain, I wasn't here.
Oh, motion passes with Mr. Hansi abstaining. Thank you. Number 4, appearances of interested citizens. Second call for appearance of interested citizens. Final call for appearance of interested citizens. Having no interested citizens, we will move on to number 8, general business. Go straight to Tom Wente here. 8A, consideration of receiving and approving the 2014 audit report as presented by Smith, Schaefer and Associates, Ltd. of the audit team leadership of Tom Wente, Principal. The presentation will also include a PowerPoint with visuals that more clearly illustrate much of the numerical data as contained in the actual comprehensive and annual financial reports, the attached audit document. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, of course, am Tom Wente with Smith Schaefer, and here tonight to present not only the audit but the city's financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2014. Sorry. Kind of flip to the first slide, number 2. Audit opinion is extra copies here. Our audit opinion is now called unmodified, but it's a clean opinion, and it is at the beginning of this document that you should have received in your council packets. It's the financial statements of the city, and we have performed an audit and issued our opinion on that. We reviewed these financial statements with the city administrator, the clerk treasurer, and the mayor on May 1st in detail, page by page. We also issued Minnesota legal compliance, which is the last page, saying that you're in compliance with state statute. There will be a single audit that is required this year, and we'll perform that during the summer months. It's due by September 30 to determine if you're in compliance with the grant requirements. And we issued the 2 letters that read identically to what they've read throughout the year. So with that, I'll get into the numbers that are in the financial statement. So we do this, as you know, in a graphical presentation because the numbers get a little difficult for non-financial people to understand. But in addition to that, we do it because there are certain things we want to point out. Generally, the financial condition of the city is improving every year. There still are some kind of hot button areas that we need to discuss tonight. So I'll give you kind of a flavor for how things are going, and as we get to those issues, how it goes up. So we get going with revenues to begin with on page 4. Property taxes. You can see the levy has been the same the last 4 years. Actually 5 when you look at the slide, the next slide. But as far as collections, they've been the same the last 4 years. We got shorted by the state on the market value credit back in 2011. That's what caused that to be lower.
Look at this.
But collections, you can see, are they vary. As you're levying 740, you can see how the levy was spread on the next slide. Advance those.
Oh, want to do that?
Oh, just the arrow button.
So, oh, sorry. Might be easier to get this one.
Oh.
Then we go to LGA on slide 6. LGA, after being the same for 4 years here, 2010 to 2013, you can see how it increased this year by 25,000. I did bring down a summary of the LGA increases. We saw a much larger LGA increases in this in a lot of cities. This is actually the smallest one I saw. A lot of very, very significant. There were some major increases in LGA last year. It'll increase to 588 next year, so there is a bump up, and as I say, not as much as I've seen elsewhere. And in that fourth bullet, you can see it's still not at the 2009 level of 594,000. TIF, you're running just that one townhome district there, scenic view, small amount of TIF coming in. You look at slide 8, this just compares property taxes and LGA. City money on the bottom in the darker color, state money on the top. We have talked about through the years that the balance swung from the state to the city in 2011 and grew through 2013. It's about essentially the same. You didn't raise the levy and the state came up with 25,000 additionally, so you dropped from 57 to 56. But property taxes continue to be the primary source of governmental revenues. Governmental revenues meaning exclusive of your enterprise funds. These are the revenues that support the operations of the city. These do not include ratepayers paying for services in your enterprise funds. So then you go to the next slide, you can see how that changed. The darker color there being property taxes and the lighter color being LGA. That change occurred, been really the same in the last 3 years, that mix. Moving into expenditures in slide 11. General government expenditures up to $141,000. It's an increase of just under $15,000 this year, and some of the reasons for that increase are listed in the 3 bullets there you see on the second bullet. On slide 11, biggest one of course being the comprehensive plan. Police department expenditures, those are also up $11,437. It's about 4%. That police software being one of the bigger things that's new in 2014 that wasn't there in 2013. And you're at $294,000 now in the police department. If you look at slide 13, I attempt to get some of our clients that are in, you can't get them to be exactly the same size, but cities in this area of the state that are roughly in this size, you see you're at $294,000. And then the other cities listed there, the ones that are in contract, you see in the parenthetical there at the bottom, we show the ones that contract the service out versus the ones that don't contract the service out. I think when I looked at populations, you're probably the closest to Spring Valley and Kenyon, which are one contracted and one not. You see there 281 and 312, so you're kind of right between the two. Caledonia, of course, is a larger, maybe by 1,000, I think, in population, and they're at 542,000 and not contracted out. So, as far as slide 14, then the fire fund. Some of these funds we're going to break out capital because it kind of makes the chart more understandable. Look at the routine color on the bottom, and then the capital outlay on a different color on top. 120,000 was spent. Revenues that support those are listed in the second bullet. And there is a variety of revenues that support the fire fund, as you know, the townships and the donations and the run fees and property taxes. Ambulance slide's an interesting one in that we're up just $5,300 to $159,000, but you can see through the years capital outlay plays a big part when there is capital outlay, and then the problems we ran into with bad debts there after the flood in 9, 10, and 11 kind of passing through and becoming less of an issue now. But as I said, up $5,300. Public Works, $128,000. They're up $12,834. And you see the last bullet there explaining that we looked at the expense categories. It's basically gas, oil, maintenance, and repair costs. Park and Rec at $95,000, up $5,700. Primarily due to the aquatic center chemicals, utilities, and repair costs.